Hello there, and welcome back to Boardroom Insights. My name is Alan O'Neill, and today I want to talk to you about Gen Z shoppers. In last week's episode, I was joined by Julie Ryan from Harvest, and she brought us through the recent research into the Gen Z in the workplace, particularly. However, let's acknowledge that the Gen Zs, who are now well into the workplace, are also going to be both shoppers for the B2C world and they're going to be buyers if they are in the B2B world. So I thought this week I would just share some research that I've come across into how Gen Zs shop. Just to remind you, Gen Zs are those who are born approximately after 1997 up to the teens, the 20 teens, and then followed by the Generation Alphas, who will be another topic for another day. So let's look at Gen Zs and what goes through their minds when they're shopping. And in this research, I used the Robin Report, which is a superb American agency that do a lot of work in the space of retail particularly. Now, it's not just about retail, of course, because shoppers also go into restaurants, they go into hotels, they buy mobile phones, they do things online that are still B2C. So let's assume that the traits that I'm going to share with you about Gen Z shoppers also apply right across the spectrum of B2C. So here are some things. And they link back, in fact, to the research that Julie talked about in the workplace research too. There are some similarities. One, they are values driven and really value authenticity. When they are shopping, they rigorously vet brands in advance to check for their values and do they believe them? Do they believe that they're an authentic organization? Do they believe that this is an organization that has a sense of doing the right thing for people and for the planet? One thing here is that Boohoo saw a Gen Z backlash and a 37% drop after a 2020 labor scandal that was revealed on social media. Another example is Patagonia, which is a positive one. Patagonia is that brand, the outer for cold climates. And their values are seen to be very, very strong and authentic. So Gen Zs rate them and they do very well with the Gen Z community. More research, 84% are more likely to buy from brands that treat their employees well. They can check that through things like Glassdoor and other review sites. Starbucks, they faced protests over alleged union busting, actually, and that prompted Gen Z boycotts and viral TikTok videos. 20% stopped buying in 2023 due to unethical practices. In Shein, for example, Shein is that Chinese online brand for the fast fashion. There are ongoing controversies around fast fashion, forced labour, and copycat designs, interestingly, have caused young shoppers to call it the brand on social media and to cancel it, in fact. Now let's move on to another category of traits that are typical of Gen Zs, and that's the digital first. They grew up in a digital first society. They prefer a seamless mix of online and physical. Julie talked about phygital last week, and here we are again, the same thing. They wanted a mix of both. For example, Nike's SNKR's app. I haven't seen that one. I haven't heard of it, but you will maybe know it well. And its AR-powered in-store experience. That's an example of something that Gen Zs would respond to. It's a combination of in-store and digital. And Apple, the way it blends its mobile ordering and in-person pickups. Now, they're not the only ones doing that. There are lots more doing it too. But at the same time, it's good to know that Gen Zs respond well to that. Interestingly, they've shifted their search from Amazon to Google. So rather than being when they're on the Amazon site doing the search in there, they go back to Google. They're increasingly discovering brands on TikTok also. And you'll often hear them saying that TikTok made me buy it. And while Amazon's reputation took a hit after third-party seller controversies, that caused Gen Zs to switch away from Amazon back to Google. So be careful. Another one is that they are value conscious in terms of how much they spend. So they're price sensitive, but they will spend on sustainable goods. Now, isn't that interesting? And that kind of gives me hope for the future of our world. Allbirds and Everlane have attracted Gen Z for their transparency and willingness to publish supply chain details. Meanwhile, H&M's conscious collection has faced lawsuits because it was seen to be greenwashing. And that prompted Gen Z skepticism. So you got to be careful. It's okay to say it, provided you can back it up with the truth also. They seek multifunctional, high durability items. So brands like Le Creuset, Lifetime Guarantee, and Glossier, which is a multi-use beauty stick. What would I know about that? But they thrive. While Samsung has faced class actions over planned obsolescence. So they're planning ahead to drop out certain products from their portfolio. And that is not sitting well with Gen Zs because they're openly criticizing it. They are also experience centric, and that applies to in-store curated experiences where they want to get an ambience and they want to get a sense of place when they're there. So, for example, Glossier's flagship stores and Lululemon's in-store yoga classes are destinations, not just retail. Abercrombie and Fitch. They were once criticized for exclusion. They've turned around its reputation by revamping in-store experiences for inclusivity. And that has earned them the Gen Z loyalty again. They're quick to abandon bad experiences. For example, Target, which is that huge chain in the US, they had checkout tech failures, and that led to widespread social media complaints and lost sales. United Airlines, their infamous passenger removal scandal that became a viral case study in how quickly Gen Z can cancel brands also. So I'm just showing you some highlights here from some of the research that I have found. And I think it's very interesting because we have to recognize that they are now going to be a hugely important buying category for all of us in the world of business. Now, what should B2B firms know? I've touched on B2C, but let's look at in the world of B2B, because think about it. As they mature into the workplace, they're going to be working in procurement departments. They're going to be maybe even heading up procurement departments. They're going to be buyers in retail. Across the board, Gen Z are settling in. So obviously, the whole sustainability thing is going to be important. Sustainability, diversity, and transparent sourcing. So they will follow through. They won't just accept your form saying that, yes, you are doing the right thing from your ESG. They'll want proof. They'll want evidence. They'll want data so that they can check it. And they'll want to move beyond just whatever you're putting on your reports. They'll want to see evidence of that. The digital engagement, which we touched on in B2C, but they will be looking for AI-driven experiences when they are spending their organization's money. Salesforce and HubSpot, they offer AI-powered B2B portals. And firms that are failing to match this level of engagement with AI will not go down well with Gen Zs. They'll risk being seen as dinosaurs. My gosh. B2B e-commerce lawsuits. Amazon Business faced antitrust scrutiny in Europe for allegedly favoring its own products over its marketplace providers. And that is a warning for B2B platforms lagging on transparency and fairness. So again, watch out. Authenticity and speed. Gen Zs crave clear, fast, honest communication. When WeWork overhyped its culture and misleading financials were exposed, investor trust evaporated almost overnight. A clear warning again to B2B leaders. And then, of course, there have been some greenwashing lawsuits as well. Companies like KLM and the airline and H&M, that fast fashion retailer, have faced legal challenges for overstating their sustainability claims. Now, we know because of the whole values-driven focus and sustainability-driven focus of Gen Zs, they won't let you away with that. Therefore, what do you need to do to adapt and to be ready and to not get caught out? I mean, doing the right thing is obviously the starting point, and Gen Zs are probably that first generation who are calling us out. We always knew certain things are wrong, but this generation are going to call us out on it. So what are the kind of things that you can do to make sure that you are ready for them? Well, when it comes to brand vetting, we know that they're going to vet. They're going to verify your values. They're going to verify your supply chain. So maybe you should publish your ESG and do what you know in terms of declaring and being authentic and transparent around your supply chain, but make sure you can back it up. So don't just say one thing where the reality is something else. Be careful. When it comes to digital tools, you know that Gen Zs they expect refinement, they expect adaptation, they expect speed. So what can you do? Well, build user-friendly portals, like for example, Shopify, and integrate AI chat into that because they will expect that. They'll see you as a dinosaur if you don't. Sustainability and quality. We know that they pay more for integrity. So therefore, you might offer eco-friendly options like Patagonia, for example, and don't fake it. Don't fake it because you get caught out like H&M did. Another one is experience and efficiency. You know that they demand smooth engagement. So what can you do? Well, model after Apple's retail experience. And don't let tech fail you. Just make sure that it's a seamless digital experience. Finally, diversity and inclusion. Look, do what you know you should be doing. And regardless of what's happening in the US, where they're pulling back and dialing down on it, it's going to come back again, guaranteed. So ignore what's happening in the US, in my view. The Gen Zs are going to check corporate authenticity. So you need to highlight your D&I policy and follow through with evidence and data to illustrate that. So look, that's it. I think the key message here is the Gen Zs want transparency. They want us to do the right thing, and good for them. And as I said last week, I believe the future is in good hands. But for us, though, that are a bit more dinosaur in our ways of working, in our business model, in our thinking even, we need to adapt because Gen Zs are going to occupy, did Julie say 72% of the workforce? And the workforce meaning they're going to be earning money, they're going to be our shoppers of the future, they are going to be our decision makers of the future in the world of B2B also. So ignore them at your peril. That's it from me for now. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care. Are you ready to grow profit with less stress, more clarity, and a strategy that actually sticks? That's why I created the 7 Steps to Profit. It's a practical business framework that helps leadership teams align their strategy, culture, people, customer, and execution, so the profit naturally follows. For over 30 years, I've worked with leaders across every industry, and the one truth that always holds is that when the different parts of your business are aligned and joined up, everything gets easier. So if you're tired of firefighting, tired of silos, it's time to transform how your business works. Our work is also supported by our own organisation health assessment to give you clarity on what you need to focus on. Give us a call today for a no-strings discovery call. In the meantime, please check out 7stepstoprofit.com. That's the number 7 Steps to Profit. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you the next time.